President Biden will speak to national labor leaders of AFL-CIO, host the NATO summit to show the unprecedented strength of our alliance, hold a press conference, a big boy press conference, according to Justin Sink from Bloomberg.
After that, the president will hold a press conference. I guess a big boy press conference is what we're calling it, and take some questions from y'all.
White House officials are saying President Biden is going to host a press conference on Thursday afternoon. All that they'll tell us is that it's going to be more than the traditional 2 questions when foreign leaders are in town. They are describing it at the White House as a big boy press conference. Neil.
A big boy press conference seems to imply that he's going to take more than just a couple of questions. And the pressure would be on him because it would only be him answering.
Well, one way to stop getting people to focus on him being 81 and possibly having issues with his acuity is just to call him a big boy.
This is my video update on this Tuesday, July the 9th. Let's talk about some big boy news. Let's talk about the big boy press conference that is going to take place in Washington, D.C. after the NATO meetings. The 75th anniversary of NATO from the 9th of July until the 11th of July. And according to Kirby and Karine Jean-Pierre, Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, is going to give no mas. Oh my God. He's going to give a big boy conference. Not a little boy conference, a big boy conference. Fox News is reporting, Peter Ducey. I think he said that Biden plans to take more than 2 questions. And that's what's going to make this a big boy conference. I think it was Peter Ducey. I could be wrong about that. But yeah, he's going to finally dispel all of the talk and the rumors that he's not up to the job of being president, that Biden is not altogether up here. And he's going to do this by taking more than 2 questions, maybe 10 questions, maybe 15 questions from the media. And that is how Biden is going to prove once and for all that he is the best person to take on Trump in these U.S. elections. He is the best choice for the Democrat Party by giving a big boy conference. I'm not making this up. I thought it was AI. I thought this was a cheap fake or a deep fake, or I don't know. Clever editing, a voiceover. No, this is real. This is reality. A big boy press conference. If 10 questions from the media, 15 questions from the media, if that's considered a big boy conference, how do you define, how do you label Putin's 4-hour marathon conferences, events that he puts on twice a year, sometimes twice a year? Once to the media, all the media, Russian media, international media, and usually he has another conference, also 3-4 hours, where he takes questions from Russian citizens. If 30 minutes of questions is a big boy conference, what's Putin doing? How would you define that? How would you label that? I don't know if they're doing this on purpose, like if they're trying to humiliate Biden on purpose, or if they're trolling him, or if Karine Jean-Pierre, you got to imagine that this idea, this big boy conference originated with the White House Communications Department. That would be my guess. Is this what they believe will convince Americans that Biden is the right guy for the job? That this will convince donors and Democrat Party officials that Biden should be the guy they go with, and they shouldn't swap him out for Kamala Harris by holding a big boy press conference after the NATO meetings conclude? I don't know. I don't know. Oh my God. Make it stop. Make it stop. And this is the guy that's got the United States involved in 2 conflicts, at a minimum 2 proxy wars, and is trying to get a 3rd war started up with China. This is the guy, and this is the administration that is holding a big boy conference. They're the ones that have the U.S. involved in all of these wars. So, if you laugh, you cry. So CNN, they are reporting that a draft statement has already been prepared, a NATO draft statement. They've already prepared everything. So the meetings are just PR, media spin, just going through the motions. All the meetings that are going to take place. Everything has already been decided. When you read statements like this from CNN, then you understand that everything's already been concluded. And the 2 days of bilateral meetings and NATO member state meetings, that's just all for show. But CNN is reporting that a draft statement has already been prepared, where it will say that Ukraine, well, Ukraine's not going to get into NATO, but Ukraine's path to NATO is irreversible. The easiest way to stop this conflict, the easiest way to get to negotiations, is for Ukraine to say, we're not going to enter NATO. It's that simple. That's it. We're not going to enter NATO. Negotiations begin. Nope, they can't do it. Now they're going to have to put out a statement, according to CNN, and say that Ukraine's path is irreversible, which means that Ukraine's destruction is going to be irreversible. So Zelensky, he's probably in the U.S. by now, or arriving soon to the U.S. But he was in Poland, and he signed another bilateral security agreement with Donald Tusk. And he's collecting these security agreements because he's not going to get membership into NATO. So what they're doing is they're giving Zelensky a bunch of bilateral security agreements, which are meaningless, if you want my opinion. Absolutely meaningless. Most of the bilateral security agreements are just basically giving Ukraine everything that they've already been getting from the collective West over the past 2 years. Weapons and money. That's basically what the bilateral security agreements are. And keep in mind that all these agreements are being signed by someone who according to Russia is not the legitimate president of Ukraine. Well, according to the Ukrainian constitution, some lawyers, some legal experts would argue that according to the constitution of Ukraine, Zelensky is entering these agreements as just another dude in a green t-shirt because he is not the legitimate president of Ukraine. But anyway, he is signing all of these bilateral security agreements with all of these collective West countries, and he got another one with Poland. I thought he already had a bilateral security agreement with Poland. The thing that makes this security agreement with Poland a bit different, dangerously different, I would say, is that in this security agreement, there's a clause which allegedly says that Poland and Ukraine are going to coordinate and figure out a formula so that Poland can shoot down Russian missiles and drones in Ukraine airspace, but are moving in the direction of Poland. That's basically what this clause says. I haven't read this clause, to be honest, but allegedly that's what it says. And Zelensky was talking this up at a press conference, a big boy press conference with a green man in a t-shirt press conference with Donald Tusk. Anyway, he was talking this up, but Donald Tusk, he didn't seem so confident. He didn't look so confident as he was talking about this clause, this formula for Poland to shoot down Russian missiles. He said that Poland has to discuss this with NATO, and they need to figure out the formula not only with Ukraine, but they have to consult their NATO partners. You can see right there with that statement, you can see that Tusk is already walking it back, hedging his bets, saying, oh, we have to discuss this with NATO, we have to coordinate with NATO, which means by definition, by extension, by definition, that he has to discuss this with Biden, the Biden White House. With Biden, but is he really going to discuss this with Biden? Is Biden really capable of discussing these things? Who is running the United States of America? Who is it? Who does Tusk talk to? Sullivan? Blinken? Foreign Policy President Jake Sullivan, I imagine. But you could see in Tusk's statement that he was kind of downplaying it a bit. We got to talk to NATO, which means we have to talk to the United States. Who do we talk to in the United States? No one knows. No one knows. I think that's the billion-dollar question. Who's running the country? Who's going to be running the NATO meetings? Is it going to be Biden from 10 to 4? Is he going to be the guy that's running all of these meetings in D.C. to celebrate the 75th anniversary of NATO? I don't know. If this is true, I mean, if they do put a formula together, which, I don't know, I'm not buying this, but let's just say this is the path that Poland is taking, well then, this is pretty reckless and dumb for Donald Tusk to do. I don't think Polish society is on board with Poland getting ever closer to a conflict with Russia. Because Russia's going to call this bluff. You know it. And then what does Poland do? I don't know how Russia's going to call this bluff, but they will. I don't want to get into the scenarios. It's scary thinking about the scenarios of how Russia would call this bluff of knocking down Russian missiles over Ukraine airspace, Poland doing this. But if this is indeed the case, and this is Tusk's thinking, he really wants to go forward with this, well then he's being very stupid and very reckless. We'll see. We will see with time what happens. For now, I believe this is just another meaningless security guarantee to make Zelensky happy, because in the next 2 days he's going to get the bad news. He's going to have to take back to Ukraine the bad news that they're not getting into NATO, and the Banderites are going to be plenty mad with the results of this NATO conference. So they're trying to give Zelensky as many things as they can give him without the NATO membership. So what NATO is going to without a doubt talk about at this event is going to be escalation with Russia, escalation with China. That's going to be the two big topics. Kirby did say that the Biden White House will not change its position on giving permission to Ukraine to use ATACMS missiles to hit pre-2014 Russian territory. So Kirby said that this position is not going to change. But Kirby also did say that U.S. missiles are being used by Ukraine to attack Crimea. He came out with this admission. The missile attacks into Crimea are with U.S. support, U.S. missiles. When you say something like that, it's not only the U.S. weapons and the missiles, it's the U.S. Guidance and everything else, targeting. So when Kirby comes out with that statement, he's basically saying that it's the U.S. that's picking the targets and helping Ukraine hit Crimea. Quite an admission from Kirby. So you had the big Russian missile strike yesterday, and the big news that everyone is talking about is this hospital strike, that one of the missiles, maybe one of the missiles, hit a hospital in Kiev, or hit a part of the hospital. From what I understand, it hit the wing of a part of the hospital. So right there, the fact that allegedly it hit a part of the hospital, by definition means that the hospital wasn't being targeted, but it could be collateral damage from a Russian missile. And this is going to be used by NATO. I mean, the timing, just 24 hours before the NATO conference, this happens. Obviously, this is going to be used by NATO and the collective West to continue escalation in this conflict. Now, the Russian Ministry of Defense, they're refuting the claims that this was a Russian missile, and they are saying that this was a Patriot, an air defense missile that fell on the part of this hospital. It's impossible to know what happened. I mean, there's a lot of people going through photos and videos, and the Ukraine side is saying this was a Russian missile. Look what they're doing. They're targeting hospitals, and other analysts, Russian analysts and other analysts are saying, well, maybe this was a Russian missile. No, this looks like a Patriot missile. An investigation needs to be done, but that's not going to happen. An investigation should be done, and then we get to the truth, but that's not going to happen. But, with all of these tragedies, these events that have taken place over the past 2 years, eventually we get to the truth. With time, we get to the truth as to what really happened. So I imagine within a couple of weeks, or within a couple of months, or within a year, we'll figure out what happened to the part of the children's hospital. CNN, they ran a story with the title "Ukrainian Children's Hospital Attacked as Russian Strikes on Cities Kill at Least 37." CNN makes it appear, Brian Berletic, he made a good point with this title from CNN, and generally the titles from the collective West mainstream media on this hospital, that they make it seem that the casualties were 37. But from what I understand from yesterday's missile strikes, the total casualties, not the hospital, but the total casualties, are at 37. That's my understanding of things. I could be wrong. But the CNN, they make it seem like it was 37 just at this one location. Zero Hedge, they ran an article with the title, they're more balanced. Zero Hedge's title and its article reporting on this is much more balanced. They are saying barbaric, in single quotes, Russia accused of attacking Kiev Children's Hospital on eve of NATO summit in D.C. on eve of NATO summit. The timing is interesting. The war in Ukraine continues on a downward spiral, Zero Hedge is saying, taking another grim and tragic turn amid widespread allegations that Russian forces destroyed a children's hospital in Kiev and a bigger barrage of missiles which hit several sites on Monday. So this was a big missile strike yesterday, and Kiev was one of the targets, according to the Ukraine Air Force. 11 of 13 KH-101s were shot down. Simplicius the Thinker rightly points out that we have video footage of at least 10 missiles successfully hitting targets, military facilities, and I think an air base was also hit outside of Kiev as well, which was supposed to be one of the places where the F-16s were going to be located. But obviously the Ukraine Air Force math is wrong. Anyway, that's what happened yesterday in Kiev. Zelensky, before he ventured off on his travels, or maybe it was during Poland where he made this statement, he said that Orban's peace initiative is not going to happen. It's finished before it even starts. Zelensky said that the only mediators that he will accept, that Ukraine will accept, is the United States, the European Union, or China. That's it. The U.S. is a party to the war, so Russia will not accept them as a mediator. They can't mediate. If you're a party to the war, you can't mediate. The European Union is a party to the war, and no one even cares about the European Union. So no one's going to take the European Union seriously. Can you imagine Borrell or Kallas mediating? Ursula von der Leyen mediating? It's ridiculous. It's a joke, right? But they're also a party to the war, so they can't mediate. So that leaves China. Hey, I agree with Zelensky. For once, I agree. China should mediate. If they want to mediate the conflict, it has to be China, right? It looks like the collective West, the United States, the EU, and NATO, they're going to start going after Georgia. I think we are starting to get a clearer picture as to what country outside of China, what country has been targeted next for regime change, color revolution, chaos, destruction. I hope not, but it looks like everything is moving towards Georgia. The collective West is very upset with Georgia Dream. We've talked about what's been going on in Georgia in many videos, and much of this has to do with the NGO finance law that was passed by Parliament. And the European Union, they announced today that they are stopping the accession process for Georgia. They're suspending it. I love those little birds. They're so cool. And they're fearless. That's what I love about them. They're fearless. Afraid of nothing. Anyway, yeah, they're suspending the EU path of Georgia, which, if you want my opinion, that's great news for Georgia. Yeah, you guys dodged a bullet. You get rid of your NGOs, or at least you get rid of all the foreign financing in NGOs. Huge win. You stop your ridiculous, destructive path into the European Union, which would obliterate your economy, obliterate your society, turn your country upside down. That's a huge win. I mean, you know, Georgia's winning. Georgia is winning. Yeah, they should have a party in Tbilisi if you want my opinion with this decision. You guys dodged a bullet. Georgia dodged a bullet. Turkey dodged a bullet. Lucky, lucky, lucky. Someone upstairs is looking out for you, Georgia. The only thing that worries me is that they're going to start to create chaos. That's what worries me. The collective West is going to try and pull another Maidan. And this is pretty much the same formula as Maidan, isn't it? 2014 Maidan, where the EU started up all the outrage because allegedly, and this is false, but allegedly Yanukovych did not want Ukraine to enter the EU. That's completely false. But yeah, they're going to start with that narrative and try to get the people in Georgia all riled up and angry with the government and protesting. You know that the European Union, they're probably passing out EU flags right now as we record this video. Anyway, best of luck, Georgia. We're thinking of you and we're with you. Let's hope that they fail in creating the chaos that it looks like they're moving towards. So should we talk about Biden? Bidenopolis, Greece's favorite son. The New York Times is reporting that Democrat Party members, high-level officials, as well as bigwig donors, they're trying to find a way to elegantly, an elegant way is what the New York Times is saying, to remove Biden. They want it to be elegant. Elegant. That's what they're trying to figure out. How do we make Biden stand down, but do it in a respectful, elegant way? Biden sent out a letter to Democrat lawmakers yesterday or 2 days ago. And he told Democrat lawmakers that he's staying put. He is staying put. He's not going anywhere. That's what he told them. That's what he said. In a letter sent to Democrats in Congress on Monday, wow, Biden stressed that he remains firmly committed to staying in the 2014 presidential race and called on lawmakers to support his campaign in order to win the election. Quote, "I want you to know that despite all the speculation in the press and elsewhere, I am firmly committed to staying in this race, to running this race to the end, and to beating Donald Trump," the 81-year-old wrote. It's all about beating Donald Trump. That's what it's all about. It's not about who's running domestic policy. It's not about who's running foreign policy. The machine is doing that. The establishment, machine, blob, they're running everything, right? They're running the United States, running it into the ground, but they're running the United States. What matters most is who can beat Donald Trump. That's what matters most. That's what matters to Biden. That's what matters to the Democrats. That's what matters to the donors. No one cares about how the U.S. is running. Who is in charge of the United States? They don't care. I care. You care. But the establishment, Biden, the Democrats, who cares? We just need to know who can beat Donald Trump. That's the big question. Who is the right person to defeat Trump? That's what matters. Keep us in power. Keep us in power. Keep the money flowing to NATO. Keep the money flowing to Project Ukraine. Who is the best candidate to defeat Trump? Biden says he's the guy. Even though the polling And the betting is showing the bookmakers, the odds makers, they're showing that Kamala is the person to go to. I don't know. I don't think either of them is the right choice. Boy, the Democrats are in a big mess. Boy, did they make a mess of things. Right now, Hunter and Jill, they're in negotiations. I'm convinced of it. Maybe two things are going on. Jill and Hunter are in negotiations. I was reading an article which said that Hunter is now living in the White House. He's moved in, and he's like the gatekeeper to Biden. Hunter Biden. My God, what a train wreck this has become. Anyway, he's the person that is running Biden, him and Jill, and I think that they're negotiating for their 10 or 20%, maybe 25%, who knows, for the big guy. For the big guy and Dr. Jill and Hunter. Pardons and all kinds of stuff. So that's one of the scenarios that's playing out. They're making it seem like they're not going anywhere. A negotiating tactic. We're not going anywhere. Joe's not leaving. He's not standing down. Let's negotiate. We used to ask for 10%, but we want a little bit more. That's one of the scenarios. The other scenario that they might be up to is trying to run out the clock, right? Trying to delay Biden stepping down in order to make it so that time runs out and you have to go with Biden. That could be another thing that they're doing. I'm not standing down. I'm not leaving. Donors are trying to figure it out, how to get rid of him. Democrat officials are trying to figure out how to get rid of him. But you're in the fourth quarter right now. You got maybe 5 minutes left. And that's it. Game is over. No overtime, no extra time. Anyway, that's probably another way to look at what's happening right now. Another scenario is that they're going to announce everything at the convention. I was listening to Vivek Ramaswamy. He was giving an interview. I forgot to which media channel, but he brought up an interesting point. He said that the longer they can delay when they bring in the new candidate, Kamala, the less time the American public has to actually scrutinize the next candidate, scrutinize Kamala if it is going to be Kamala. That was an interesting thought from Vivek. I was going to do a clown world, but one more. How are we doing on time? Okay, we're doing all right. One more quick news item to talk about connected to Biden. This whole Parkinson's thing, also from the New York Times. Man, the New York Times is going hard after Biden. They put out the story about trying to remove him in an elegant way. Then they also put out a story yesterday claiming that a specialist, a doctor specialist in Parkinson's, visited the White House like 8-9 times. And so the media was asking Karine Jean-Pierre, what's going on here? What's the deal with this doctor visiting 8-9 times from July, I think July 20, I want to say 2023, either 2022 or 2023. This doctor made 8 or 9 visits to the White House, but that's all we know. And Karine Jean-Pierre wasn't giving any more information, and the media was they were pretending to be upset with her. And so you got this big heated argument between Karine Jean-Pierre and the media. They're very upset. Now the media is very upset with the White House communications department. Very upset with Karine Jean-Pierre. Now they're upset with her. They had no idea that all of this was going on with Professor Biden. They had no idea. We knew this was going on. I knew, you knew, all of us knew this was going on with Biden. We knew this was going on with Biden from 2020. But the media, they had no clue. Clueless. And all of a sudden, you have a doctor, a Parkinson's doctor, who goes to the White House. Now, I read some reporting claiming that there was some sort of Parkinson's charity event going on, and that's why this doctor was there. I don't know. I have no idea. But that was interesting, and it's all coming from the New York Times. The New York Times has it in for Biden. They want Biden gone. Like I said, a soft coup is unfolding. Will it be successful? Only time will tell. Only time will tell. Let's do a clown world. Wrap this video up. We go back to Project Ukraine and Ukraine's foreign minister, Kuleba. Mr. Kuleba, he... this guy, man. These guys. I can't believe these guys are running countries, are running the collective West, are engaging in wars, are turning the world upside down, are tearing the world apart. I can't believe we have these people as leaders of the collective West. Anyway, Kuleba, he said that Ukraine will gladly take the place of Hungary in the European Union. No joke. Not joking. Hungary will take the place. Ukraine will take the place of Hungary. Ukraine will take the place of Hungary. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's kind of sad when you think about it. That statement, it's kind of pathetic and sad that the foreign minister of Ukraine says, we'll take Hungary's place in the European Union. So sad. Get some respect, man. Kuleba. Get some respect. Show some cojones, man. We'll take Hungary's place. Ah, boy. What else? During the NATO event, where is this story? Here we go. During the NATO event, they are going to be talking about safeguarding against subsea attacks. NATO backs effort to save internet by rerouting to space in event of subsea attacks. Right. NATO has to protect the internet cables under the sea from Gilligan? from Biden and Newland. Who do they have to protect the cables from? NATO. From themselves. NATO has to protect subsea attacks from NATO. From Zaluzhny and the Andromeda. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. I'm going to wrap it up. Modi and Putin, second day of the meetings between Modi and Putin, and today they are going to discuss trade and oil, and India wants to be a big-time oil player, and they're going to discuss these things today. The Duran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and Twitter X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some cool merch. I always wear my Duran merch. And subscribe to this channel. Take care.